Good day, good night. Welcome to Euro Today. I'm Laramee, joined by Duane Rollins as always, and today it's time we have a serious conversation about the D. We're going to talk about Group D, that is, today on Euro Today. Yes, England, Croatia, Czech Republic, Scotland. This was interesting today because this morning, Duane, we could have looked at this group and it could have gone a whole different ways. Croatia was dead last. With a loss or a draw, they were eliminated. Or with an emphatic win, they could climb all the way to second. Czech Republic already through. England already through. All they had to do was show up and not get a sideways score, which it didn't happen. England finishing top of Group D. Scotland, unfortunately, bottom of Group D. It was 2 games. One that was very entertaining, and then England played.
When we woke up this morning, it could have went any way possible, and in the end, Kevin, it went chalk.
In the end, well, depends what you think about Croatia. They struggled before today. They only had 2 wins in the last 11 games, Duane, and it was against Malta and Cyprus. So, not necessarily powerhouses, but they rectified that today, and Luka Modric became the oldest Croatian player to score internationally after becoming the youngest one in 2008.
And that's amazing. And Luka Modric is an incredible player that has maybe been underappreciated, if that's possible. I mean, he was the World Player of the Year, so it's not, really true to say he's underappreciated. You can't get much more appreciated than winning a Ballon d'Or. But nonetheless, look, it was like a last gasp. When you're on your deathbed and you have like that one last moment. That's kind of how it felt like. But when it comes to the Scotland-Croatia game, you talk about Luka Modric having a moment. Well, he had a hell of a moment. That was one of the.
It was one of the moments,
goal of the tournament, maybe. I don't know.
Well, there's a couple of great ones, right? Patrick Schick got a great one, and that cracker from Denmark yesterday was also great. It depends what you define as a great goal.
Yeah, Steven Sandor, our friend Steven Sandor, tweeted out that Scotland, they don't give up many goals, but when they do, they're potential goals of the tournament.
Exactly. Like, hey, we only give out worldly. So if you score against us, it's because it's a worldly. But speaking of statistics that are interesting, and we can just go back and forth between games here because there's only 2 games to talk about today and setting up the table for tomorrow, which is not only the end of Group F and the Group E, but also when we actually can see what the matchups will be like, because there's always a potential of it changing, because it's like example, this winner will face the third of either A, B, C, or D. Well, you have to, it can all change still. But when I think of England and Raheem Sterling scoring, the only goal scorer for England in this tournament, England is now 12-0-0 when Raheem Sterling scores internationally, unbeaten and only wins when Raheem Sterling scores. The Lions roar.
Yeah, well, look, I can speak to Raheem Sterling on the club side, and I can say this, that when Raheem Sterling scores on the club side, they're also pretty successful, which might suggest to the point that if you have a goal from a guy like Raheem Sterling, then you're doing okay. But look, England, how do I say this delicately, Kevin? Like, I've never actually sat in front of a wall and watched paint dry.
Well, it can't be that bad. Paint must be entertaining. Oh my God, look at that leak. The leak is going on a run. The leak is going. It's going. Oh, it dried.
I don't know what to say. Like, they're getting the job done. Like, I mean, they did what they had to do against Scotland because they knew that was going to be an emotional game. So they got the draw out of it. And it really didn't matter that they didn't win. They got the 2 other wins. They have 7 points. Like, how can you argue that they aren't doing what you're supposed to do? How can you not sing 3 Lions, Kevin? But yet you watch those games and you see 2 goals by Raheem Sterling, both kind of early. and then not much. I don't know how can you possibly think that there are good things happening here? I don't know, but nonetheless, they're undefeated.
Jadon Sancho only making a cameo, late in the 85th minute? To me, that's my dog, by the way, Stevie.
I hear him.
Stevie making an appearance on the show today because Pete is arriving during the recording of this podcast. But when we look at this England team and the decision taking in game by Gareth Southgate, that's what's at least the critique has been coming from, especially across the pond in England right now. And that's also part of the territory of playing at home all the way through this tournament. Regardless of what happened, they're going to be playing in England for them. And the pressure of the press, the fans, it's there. It's different than being in Russia 3 years ago. And I think that's a big thing. And now every decision by Southgate is being dissected. And every decision that he takes during a game, why is Sancho not playing? Where was Phil Foden today, not on the 18? All these decisions that we're wondering why, they compound. And that pressure, granted it might be only in the Daily Mirror, it's starting to accumulate.
Yeah, what's also in the Sun and the Guardian and the Talksport and you know what? Like it's everywhere. Like the English media landscape is huge, and it doesn't even stop in England. It's like the pressure that the England national team has, Kevin, I would argue is as great as any sports team on earth. Think about that for a second. Like, where else? What other sport has the global reach that this sport does? And what other team has as global reach? And I know that there are many people listening to this that are angry when I say this because they're not England fans and they're, from Chile or whatever. But the reality is a lot of us are. A lot of us watch the English Premier League. A lot of us associate ourselves to this team. Like, you cannot appreciate what kind of pressure, what kind of unrealistic pressure is on this team. And we're sort of seeing that. And I think that our reaction to the fact that they have 7 points and they won the group and they continue on, but yet we're not happy with that, sort of speaks to the fact that it's an unrealistic pressure on them. They won the damn group. Right?
They won the damn group over the World Cup finalists.
Yeah.
That age,
exactly.
That age very quickly. We're not going to lie. Croatia is, to me at least, the team that the delay of the Euro cost them the most. I will die on that hill. But
no, for 100% short here, Jack. 100%. Like 3 years is a long time. That extra year matters a lot. And when you have those extra years, it really does factor in. But to get back to what I was saying, I don't know what to think of England. And the other part of this is when you look at what they're going to play, they have to play 2F. 2F is going to be a good team, right?
Well, 2F could be a whole lot of different things, and that don't count out Hungary, right? That's the whole thing. Tomorrow is going to be an amazing aspect here. Germany, Hungary. I can see Hungary pulling off an upset, maybe beating Germany, who's on a high, who's going to think they can rest players, and then they're going to play Sané. They're going to play maybe backup people, and then Hungary wins 1-0 with a goal late, and then Germany's out of the group stage.
Actually, I was having that very conversation today. It's like it was an English fan that I was talking to, and they were like, well, we're going to have to play Germany or France or Portugal. And I'm going, well, Hungary could win the game, and they laughed. But in my mind, it was like, Hungary could win the game. They did okay.
They drew 1-1 with France. They defended for their life, and they had 2.37 expected goals against them, right? France had 2.37 expected goals in that one. It only scored 1. That means like Mbappe could have scored the other 1.3, and you stopped Mbappe on that one. 9 games out of 10, they don't. But that one time they did, they got a point at the Euro against the world champions.
Well, exactly. And look, this tournament is funny, and Portugal proved it. Like in the first time out with 24 teams with best third places advancing, Portugal proved how random this tournament can be because they won the damn thing from third place. So why would we suggest anything otherwise? And why would we suggest that nothing is possible here? But that's it.
Germany, I'm not convinced by Germany still. And yes, they did win an emphatic one against Portugal. But we're not going to see this in Germany here. Joachim Löw has a bit of a Pep Guardiola thinking where they overthink things. And I think they're going to overthink the resting aspect and the rotation. We'll see. The other game, though, France-Portugal tomorrow to decide maybe who wins this group or maybe who finishes second. A draw on that one sees France maybe assuring a second spot here. But second spot is not easy. It depends. That's the fascinating aspect here.
No, the games tomorrow, tomorrow is the best day of the tournament. Like, if you have a little cough in the back of your throat, folks, and you have to work tomorrow, but you're feeling that cough, I might think that cough's going to develop into something a little bit more tomorrow, because tomorrow's going to be the best day of the tournament. You should call in sick is what I'm telling you to do. But, it's... I don't know, Kevin. When it comes down to tomorrow, it's just really, it's a good tournament right now. And look, I don't even know where to go with this. Like, my mind's going 15 different directions right now. You're right. Like France, they only have 4 points. And in my mind, they have 6 because they played so well, but they've not played well, but they've also not played great. And here we are.
Exactly. They played well. They only scored 2 goals, 1 in each game. And that's where we got a bias here, because we all saw the Mbappe runs and he got clipped in the box, no penalty, and we also saw the amount of chances he created, not only for himself, for his teammates. We saw Griezmann, we saw Benzema almost scored 3 goals, but still not scoring a goal in this tournament. All these things we've seen, so we're like, oh wow, they look great. But at the end of the day, it's how many goals you scored to get you 3 points, and did that once only. And in the second one, against Hungary, they got caught by Fiola, and then they came back, but not for the full measure, 3 points. And that could make a big difference later on tomorrow. And that's also part of the equation. Let's just go back to Group D before we wrap up today's show, Duane, because I think we need to talk about the Czech Republic. They're through on 4, looked better than maybe... Today they didn't look as good as the first 2 games, is what I'm trying to say. Of course, Patrick Schick is their main man. He did get a pretty big knock in the second one, in the second game, in his face and bloody nose and all, and today didn't finish the game too. And it's maybe we need to see how healthy he could be before we can handicap the Czech Republic, because they could be dangerous. They have a game breaker, a game changer, someone who can score. Speaking of worldy, someone who can score a worldy, who did score a worldy in this one, and also can be pragmatic in his play, which is needed in a tournament, because rarely do you win games that matter in a tournament like this because of a worldy. Sometimes it's just a clip in the box or a fox in the box being at the right place at the right time.
No, they've been good. I think technically there is a way that they could be eliminated, but they probably are. Probably through.
No, they're through. On 4 points, they're officially through. If you have 4 points, you're officially through, because 2 teams are on third at 3. So that means that if you have 4, you can only not have less than them. So you're through.
I hate best third place finishers going through. I hate this, Kevin. I hate that. Anyway, yeah, but no, fine. The Czech Republic.
I know, because I do. That's what I do for a living, Dwayne. So today I had to rack my brains around all these scenarios. So literally, I could say that yes, it's because it's my day job that I can actually explain it to you for once, and not the other way around.
Fair enough. I actually was on Wikipedia earlier, and they weren't in the breakdown of the knockout round. So that it's very confusing to everyone, Kevin. Anyway, but no, I hate third places. No, the Czech Republic's been good, and they were good today. We didn't really talk about the game today. England got the early goal, but I actually thought the Czech Republic was maybe better for the rest of the game. Now, part of that score effect, and part of that might be Southgate negating score effect, or requiring
exactly.
score effect. So we don't know exactly what was going on, but But by and large, yeah, for sure. Like, I wouldn't want to play them in a third place game. They're a pretty good third place team, and that was a good group, I guess, or a bad group. It's gonna play out in the end.
That's the question, right? Because I'm still trying to handicap two teams here. That we kind of talked about this, but the Dutch, the Italians, and the Belgians. And then you look at their group and you look at who you think are good, and you're like, well, Italy really impressed us in the way they played. And it's not just this tournament and those 3 wins. You look at it's their last 27 wins. 27 games unbeaten, 10 games in a row, a win in a row, amazing win streak. The hottest international team in the whole world right now is Italy. And you can see why, right? Insigne, Immobile, Locatelli, and even Barella, who's Nicolo, who's going to be an amazing superstar, still very young for Inter Milan. But were their group that difficult? Like, is it really Wales, Turkey, and Switzerland, the type of group that really shows you that you're battle-tested coming out of it? But they did pretty well against a Wales team that did finish second in 26. Well, at least in the semifinal in 2016. So I'm trying to handicap all this. And then Belgium, yes, 3 wins. What is Russia? What is Finland? And what is Denmark? With all the drama that happened and the game after that too, which is different if you're Russia and you were put to the sword by Denmark because they got their confidence back. But Belgium faced a depleted, literally, Denmark. So it's hard to handicap those top teams because who's really battle-tested after the group stage?
Well, exactly. I mean, luckily we get to see Wales play in that matchup. But look, this is the great thing about this tournament is it really comes down to a round of 16. This whole group stage, like, I can argue all I want about how best third teams suck, but when you get to the long and the short of it, you have 16 teams at the end, and you have a straight run, like a straight playoff to a championship. And we saw it 5 years ago when one of those teams that came in third won that thing. And there's a lot of good teams going to be in there.
And right now, of course, there's only 2 matchups that are official, and it's a matchup from Saturday, which is Wales-Denmark and Italy-Austria. Of course, Austria, they had their first win ever at the Euro, parlayed into 2 wins, parlayed into a presence in the round of 16. Italy, hottest team in the world, going to face Austria in the round of 16. Wales, can they beat a Denmark that has overcome that emotional roller coaster and now is back to being just about the business? And maybe tactically speaking, and that's unfortunate that I'm going to say this, but the lack of Eriksen means a different pathway forward, but less easy to defend. If you suffocate the service to Eriksen, it's negating the big game plan of Denmark. Now that defensive game plan cannot be applied to Denmark, how will Wales defend for the contribution of Christensen and Simon Kjær and Miley and all the great players from Denmark? That's the difference right now.
Yeah, I think Denmark's the favorite in that, honestly. But when you look at the performance in the tournament, we really shouldn't be saying that. And as you say, taking Eriksen out of Denmark removes them from being like a legit dark horse to win to something a little less. Like, I can't see them winning this tournament without that kind of dynamic presence there that's now gone from the lineup. And obviously we say that with a heavy heart. When we say that, we're not trying to be flippant or dismissive when we suggest that. It's just reality when you're trying to break the games down at this point. Yeah, like that's the most interesting matchup to me so far. Like, we only have the 2. Like, I mean, I think Italy and Austria, when you look at that, it's hard to see Italy not winning it. I mean, it really is. And when you look at this entire thing, like when we talk about Italy being the favorite right now, and I'll just repeat that again, Italy is the favorite right now. And I didn't think that going in, but when you watch how they played in the first round, when you then extrapolate that back to how they played since Mancini took over, how can you not say they're not the favorite? They've only allowed 2 goals since he took over, and none in 10 games or something. Like, yes. Absolutely, they're favored to win that game. But not
only 10 games, it's over 1,000 minutes since the last time they conceded a goal. So Italy is not only full measure. Italy is perfection right now.
Yeah, and I don't want to dismiss France. I don't want to dismiss the Belgians, the Danes, not the Danes. I meant the Dutch is what I tried to say there. I don't want to dismiss any of that, but when you look at what Italy's done, you have to call them the favorite. Anyway, it's look, this round of 16 is going to be spectacular. We only have 2 matchups so far. One of them is pretty intriguing. The other's less so, but it has a team that's intriguing in, and it's going to be a fun little ride the rest of the way. And yeah, that's but you know who's not fun so far, Kevin? England. Yeah, that's exactly where I was going with this.
And I'm interested, too, because when we look at the potential matchup, and we'll know that tomorrow, and tomorrow we won't have a podcast recorded tomorrow evening. We'll have one Thursday during the day, all for your listening pleasures. Of course, tomorrow's a very busy day, and unfortunately, there's a CF Montreal game also. Trying to think about Major League Soccer, right in smack middle of the Euro. Welcome to sports, everyone.
There's also a TFC game, and if their coach gets fired, which I don't think is going to happen, I will absolutely be yelling out my window about that at approximately 10 minutes after final whistle. So so hang around Dundas and Ossington, listen for a crazy man yelling out his window, and you can have our podcast.
Yeah, Chris Armas, it's not going well. We kind of been we alluded this. We actually predicted this a long time ago, beginning of this year. We said, it's going to be difficult because, well, just look at the past. Sometimes it's actually a good indication of the future.
Yeah, well, no, yeah. Look, I am trying to block my brain out of Major League Soccer right now, which irritates me that they're playing during the Euro, but I guess that they have to get their schedule in. I did predict TFC to do much better than they are right now, where they are the 3rd worst team in Major League Soccer, because their talent is good. And if you have very good talent that has been successful not very long ago, we're top of the Shield race less than a year ago, and then suddenly you make one change and they're 3rd from bottom, you can really realistically look at that one change and say maybe that's the problem. That's all I'm going to say right now, Kevin. I don't want to get into MLS right now. MLS is MLS. We're going to get back to it. It is our bread and butter, but I'm watching Euro right now. It's coming home. No, it's not coming home. I don't know.
No, it's it's coming home. Maybe if your home is in somewhere south of England, and then you can choose where that is. On that note, you can follow Duane on social media and 24th Minute, myself at Laramee, and this show at Soccer Today SPN. We'll be back with a brand new show Thursday during the day. We'll break down the bracket of the round of 16 just before I go to the spa and have a massage, Duane.
I'm happy that you're getting a massage. Kevin has been working very, very, very hard, and we appreciate Kevin's effort. Thank you, Kevin, for including me in your effort. I think the listeners, I speak for them when I thank you for your effort. It's been very difficult to do what you're doing, so cheers. And
only a few days left, exactly. The brunt of it is already behind us, but that's also a sad thing. On that note, you can follow Duane, as always, like I mentioned, myself, and until next time, have a great soccer.